Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Blender tutorial series for beginners. In this series, we'll be making the Mjolnir from game God of War Ragnarock. In this video, we will be talking and trying to get familiar first with the interface of Blender and understanding the workflow and some of the basic things in the software. First things first, we'll have to get some reference images, and I've already picked some references, and I got them in a file that you will be finding in the description box. So this is this is the interface. Once you uh, open Blender, you will find something like this. The interface will be like this. So first of all, we'll be talking about the things that we have here. First, this part, the bottom part is a line graph. It serves for animations and things like that. For our series, we wouldn't be needing them, so we'll be clicking here and clipping it, and it will disappear since we won't be needing it. So first of all, we have this cube shaped object, which is a cube. We call it the default cube. And this is a camera, and this is lamp, a source of light. So we won't be needing all of this. So we'll be deleting it. And to select is just like if you select it on Windows, for example, just by clicking and by pressing the left mouse button and dragging like this, and hoppa, you've selected everything. You can delete them using X and enter, or you can just press cancel and delete them all. So now we have a blank scene. So to make this rotation, to rotate our viewport, you will have just to hold, to press and hold the middle mouse button, which is the scroller with which we scroll normally. And to zoom in, you scroll up, and to zoom out, you will have to scroll down. Now we will have to get our references, reference images on our scene. So first of all, we will have to um, look on the front side of the scene by pressing 1. It is a short key. 1 on the numpad, of course, or not the other one, which is above the Q and W and ER and T, etc. If you have, of course, a QWERTY keyboard, this is cool. Now we can just add our reference image by pressing A here on the top and get here to images and references. Or there is also a short key to add things like objects and all in Blender by just pressing Shift and A, and you will get this menu. Here you can add meshes, curves, surfaces, metal balls, texts, volumes, grease pencil, amateurs, lattice, etc., and empties, all the things, even lights, camera, force fields, etc. Now we'll be adding our reference image by pressing on it. We'll get to our folder here. I've named it here Thor's Hammer. Blender, and here it is, Thor Hammer. We'll be taking this one. This is the image we need to work with since it's a good one. I've edited since I couldn't find too much references on the some blueprints of the hammer on the internet, so I had to just work with what I have in my hand. So load, you press after that load preference images, and always the selecting mode is just like if you are selecting a folder in Windows just by pressing the left mouse button. Now we select our preference image, go here in the properties menu and get here into object data properties, and we have this like size, offset on the x axis, also on the y axis, depth if you wanted just to look from the front. If a scale side, just if, for example, if now we press on the front, you can't see what is behind. If you look from behind of the reference image, you won't be looking at the image, since here we checked that we can see it only from the front view. And as always, to rotate like our preview, we just hold and press on the middle mouse button, and we move our mouse around. Now we'll be clicking on the checking the opacity and dragging it down until we get comforting working space in our interface here. Now this is all good. I would prefer to change the value of the Y offset, like here, minus 0.59 is just good for me. Now, to work in every, like for most of the 3D modeling, first things first, you will have to look at the object you want to model. So, for example, here we have our hammer, and this hammer, as you can see, it is more of a cubey shaped uh, object. Like I'm talking just about the this part of the hammer, not the handle. I'm not talking about the handle. So this part is just like if it is more cube shaped. Uh, so from this, once you precise what is the nearest object to it, you will be adding it and modifying it, of course, after that. Now we'll be adding a cube, of course, and here we go, a cube, and here is our cube. This is our cube. We will be moving to both, and the depth default. So this is our cube. We'll go back by selecting it. So as you can see here, if we hide our cube, you can hide it by pressing H on your keyboard. And to unhide it, you just click Alt H. So H to hide and Alt H to unhide. As you can see, it is just symmetrical. The hammer is symmetrical on this axis. If you look into it, you will find that the right side is just symmetrical to the left side, and also the front side to the back side. So it would be too much pain if we work on this cube just like this, and we'll be modifying it like side by side, the right side and the left side at the same time, and then we will move to the front side and the back side. It's just would be a real nightmare. Blender has you covered, of course. Since we have a symmetrical object, we can just get a modifier for us, which is the mirror modifier. This modifier, uh, as you can see, when we get to the properties here, and we get to modify properties, you can add a modifier, and here you will find a mirror modifier. As you can see here, you will find the axes on which you have your symmetry, like x axis and the y axis. So for a default object like this one, the symmetry on the x axis is just like you will be working on, for example, either the right side of the left or the left side of the object, and it would be okay for you to go. For the other ones, for the x-axis is just symmetrical for the right and the left, and for the y-axis it's just symmetry, enables symmetry for the front and the back side. and for the Z, of course, it's just the top and the bottom, of course. So, but so now we don't see much our of what we've done. It's just like nothing happened. So now to make the magic, we'll be adding edge loops. These edge loops to separate and to split the cube into halves, like this one. You to make an edge loop, you will have to press Control R, put it like here, press with the left mouse button, and you can release either by escape or by clicking the right mouse button. And here we go, our edge loop. It divides our cube into half. Now we'll have to do the same thing for the front and the back side. So we'll be splitting it in half from the right side. We'll go to the right side mode, right viewport mode by pressing on 3 of our numpad like this. Or you can use just these axes here. It all works in Blender, but I like to work with these hotkeys. So we'll be pressing on the number 3, and after that, Control R to make an edge loop. Press the left mouse button to make the edge loop, and to confirm it, just let it stay on the its default place. Just press Escape or the right mouse button. Now that we have all of this, we don't need this part and this part. So to select, we'll go to the viewport shading wireframe, our wireframe mode. So Blender comes with four viewport modes. We have the wireframe viewport mode, the solid viewport mode, and the shading like material preview. It just gives you a preview of what your material would look like. We'll be talking about this in the next videos, of course, on the upcoming videos. Excuse me. And the last one is the rendered viewport shading mode. So we will go to the this one, the wireframe mode. We can just go to it by clicking on it here, or of course we have hotkeys which are pressing Z, and after that you choose between them, and you can find that there are numbers for each mode. So we'll be going to the wireframe mode like this and go to the top viewport mode, so we can see the cube from top. And to do so, we can either press on the Z here, or we can press on the 7 on our numpad. Uh, on our numpad. So to not confuse between the numbers I'm talking about on the numpad of your keyboard and the other numbers on your keyboard, because each of them have different uses. For example, these on the numpad enable us to change our viewport view. Like for example, you can change your viewport from the front to the back, to the right, to the left, to the top, and to the bottom. On the other hand, the other numbers enables us the ability to move between select modes. So here, these little dots are called vertices. A single one of them is a vertex, and the plural of it is vertices. So 4 vertices, as you can see, makes a face. You see, this is a face made of 4 vertices, and 2 of them form not a face but an edge. So the other numbers enable us and give us the ability to change from the selecting mode, like from moving from vertex selecting mode to edge selecting mode, and finally to the face selecting mode. So now we'll be using just the default one, and you can change them like here on top by clicking this, and this. The first one is for vertex selecting mode, the second one for edge selecting mode, and the last one is for face selecting mode. Now we'll be just working for the moment, we'll be just working with the vertex selecting mode. And of course, there are hotkeys for these ones, like the vertex. To select by vertex, you will have to be pressing on the, you'll have to press the number one on your keyboard. Edge to change to the edge mode, you have to press on the second, on the of course not second, excuse me, but I don't know, I'm losing just words today, excuse me for that. uh, we'll have to press the number two, and for the other one, for the face selecting mode, you will just have to press three. So now we'll be working for, like, for the moment, just with vertices. They are all fine. Select these. Now that we selected these, and we need to select these also. So if we just keep dragging, we can't select them all. So if you, for example, if we selected these ones and we would like to select also these ones and keep in the same selection that we selected before, we just have to press shift while pressing and holding and selecting, like this one. And hope we can now select our things. Now we'll have to delete these vertices by pressing X or cancel, like this, and delete vertices. And as you can see, if we go back to the solid viewport mode, you can see that it is symmetric. The modifier works just fine, but we have to enable also the y-axis, and just as you can see, it works fine. So now if we go back to the edit mode by pressing tab or using this options box, like here, up, if we move this one, it will move on four sides. Just it will just work symmetrically. So now we'll have to make some changes, like this, selecting the bottom part, moving it by pressing J to grab, and pressing Z for the axis on which we'll be moving it. For example, now we'll have to move it on the Z axis. So we'll be pressing J to grab it, and after that pressing Z to move it along that axis. Now we'll move it just like right here, and this is pretty good. Now we'll move uh, the top part, like this, by also tapping on J and Z to move it along the Z axis. Now we'll be selecting these ones, grabbing them and move them to along the X axis by pressing J and X. And now we have our primer shape. Now we'll go to the right viewport mode by pressing 3 on the numpad, selecting these ones and moving them on the Y axis just like here. And our hammer is pretty good. This is not our final result, and it's not even, it's just like the first steps in our journey to make this magnificent asset of the game God of War Ragnarok. I hope you find it fun, and because I loved it, I just love it. Now we will have, as you can see, there is a bending on the hammer on this part, like here and here and here and here. On these parts, there is like a change of the workflow and uh, on the geometry. So we will be moving it. We'll have to make some subdivisions or some cuts here and moving them around, like this. So we will have to add some edge loops by pressing Control R and just grab it like here and put it here, and this is good. Now we'll select these ones, press J and Z to grab them like here, and these are good also. Add another edge loop by pressing Control R, move it like just here, and it is fine. Select these vertices, Grab them along the Z axis, and you're good to go. Add in some more loop cuts like here and here. Grabbing this one on the Z axis, and this one also on the Z axis. Too far, too good. Actually, we don't need them, so we'll be undoing our what we have done. So to undo things, you just have to press Control and Z to undo, and to redo, just Control Shift C, and you're good to go. Thank me later for this. Now we will have to add more edge loops like here. But first we have like from here, there is a change in the geometry. So we'll be adding another edge loop like right here. And it's pretty good moving this one like along the Z axis. And now we'll be adding more edge loops, of course. You can make one by just making the default is one. But what if I wanted to make more at once? You will have just to scroll up to make more and scrolling down to make less. Or else you can just let it one, press on the right mouse button or escape on your keyboard and go here on this little menu and just add them manually. And they are pretty good to go. Also, we'll be selecting these ones, grabbing them along the Z axis. Yeah, the other ones, chase it. These ones, chase it. These ones on the Z axis also. Now we'll be moving these ones. And these are, and now it's looking pretty more like the Mjolnir from the game. So now, for an instance, you would think that that's all. We have our beautiful and good-looking hammer, which is not quite good looking. But you will notice something which is important. Our hammer is not a hammer, but more like a brick, which looks like the Mjolnir. So we'll have to like smooth it. To make it smooth, you will have to press shade smooth, and you won't get a good result. So we'll be undoing that, because smoothing, it will just smooth the surface. And on this example, for example, it doesn't have enough geometry to smooth it and make it look good. So to make more geometry, we will be adding subdivision surface modifier. And here we go, we'll be adding, the more you add here on levels viewports, is the more you subdivide the mesh, the more you subdivide your objects. So we'll be just fine with 2, which is pretty good uh, value for our example. But as you can see, it's no more looking good. It look pretty smooth, but it's not quite smooth. You see, it's not like the Mjolnir we know. So we'll be adding, and that is a problem. Because why? Because the subdivision surface, it just divides the mesh. Like here, as you can see, it will find uh, a value between the 3 um vertices and make like smooth it, uh, not smoothing it, but making more, but subdividing the surface, the geometry, and making it more like curvy. So to just stop this problem, we can either use our edge loops like this, and you just add loops on the edges, as you can see. Oh, now it's looking good. No, it is not, because this work just gonna destroy our workflow, which we wouldn't like to use that method here. So we will be adding like a bevel modifier, like here, and moving it before the subdivision surface. You can change their placements by just grabbing them from here and putting them and dragging them where you want to put them, and you will notice. And if we put the bevel after the subdivision surface, there is pretty nothing happens. But what if we change the placements? We can see the changes. Why? Because Blender takes like modifiers and put them and calculate them, like the first one, and after that it calculates the values of the second one, and it goes on like that. So now it looks pretty good, but it's not yet that good. We should make changes here. So first of all, let's talk about this bevel modifier. Here we have the offset with depth percent or absolute, and it's better to work on this example with just the offset. It means just this value, it affects this value here. If you like crank it up and crank it down, you won't find. And these are the segments. So the more segments you add, the more things your computer have to calculate. So don't crank it up just like crazy. It would crash the program. So we'll be taking this down. And here we have the angle. Angle affects what? What does it mean? It means that this, like for example, here by default it's 30 degrees, which means that if the program finds like an angle like here, which is more than 30 degrees, it would affect, it would enable the bevel on it. It would make it beveled. So this is the use of the angle. So like if we make it on the for more, we crank it up for more than 90 degrees, it's like just would disappear. You see, we'll be returning to default by 30 and change this angle to, wait, what does it mean? We will see. Now we'll have to go to edge select mode and select all of this edge. So to select all this edge loop, you will have some pretty problems, because it would be just too hard for you to just select it by one, just by clicking and shift and press, by holding shift and pressing again and again and again. Just it's just too hard and too um, it, artists are just lazy persons and lazy creatures, so you'll have to be crazy to be lazy. So now we have you covered. So to select all of this edge, you can either use alt and press with the left select button of the mouse, of course, and here it is. It is selected. Or else you can just click the first one and press on control, hold on control, and press the other one like this. And as you can see, the difference between these two, the first one, it just connects all the edge loop for the method in which we used alt and click. It just selects the edge loop that is connected with the edge you selected. On the other hand, this one, you select the first one and you press control and you select the other one, it just calculates the shortest path between them and select all of the edges on its path. Like for example, if we click on this one and this one here, you see, it just calculates the shortest path to get to the other edge loop. So it doesn't matter as long as you know what you're doing. So now we'll be selecting this one and this one, this one, this one, and this one. And don't forget to just keep holding shift if you want to select and keep the selection, the previous selection. Now we'll be pressing on N to get our little menu here, and we'll be increasing the mean bevel weight. As you can see, crank it up to like 1, and here we go. It's good now. And now it is more like the Mjolnir, but we have to add one thing here. We're pressing this one and just make it a bit just like this. And here we go. It's pretty good. Now we have our Mjolnir, just the hammer and the shape, like the basic shape, the basic form. So on this tutorial, on this video, it's just gonna be a little bit too hard, not too hard, but too long, because I would try to explain the most and let you understand all of these things we are doing, like the workflow, and make you good by thinking. Just you will be after this, you will think of what you will be doing. So don't delete these files and keep up with us. Um I will be uploading the other videos soon, so just stay tuned. And before that, I will have to make something is just telling you how to save your file, because it is not good if you do like the work and you can't save it to complete it after. So Blender have you covered also on this. You will just have to click on save as or save, or just control S as a shortcut. And here we go. I already have it like here. Press it, name it like Thor's hammer or Mjolnir, 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 like this one, and press save as I've already have it saved. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel and waited for our next videos. I'd be grateful for that. It's just like too much work and hard work on these ones to just give you, to make it just more simple for you or to understand it. And I know it's just a bit, it's gonna be a bit frustrating and a bit hard for you all. It's not that easy, but don't worry, I will be here for you and with you. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comments section. Of course, I will be here to help and would be glad to help. And if you have any ideas or videos, recommendations you have for me to make for you, I will be glad to make it. And goodbye, and to the next video. And I hope you really enjoyed it. And don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe to our channel. It means a lot for us. Thanks.